Hi guys, got another film review. This one is of the 2006 film Hatchet. It stars Joel David Moore. He's kind of like, seems to be the go-to guy in horror these days. If you're familiar with him, he's from Dodgeball, Avatar, Shark Night, and a couple of other horror films. So he's starting to appear in quite a few horror films, and I like that because he's kind of the unlikely hero, and he's a good actor. He also has appearances from Tony Todd and Robert Englund, so that's two very iconic horror legends. Obviously, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger, and Tony Todd played the Candyman in the Candyman trilogy. So, I've heard a lot about this film. It's got two sequels. One of them's out, the other one should be coming out this year sometime, Hatchet 3. And on the cover it says the next icon of horror. Now, I've seen a lot of things saying the killer, who's Victor Crowley, is kind of like a deformed beast, basically. He's massive, deformed, you know, like, he slaughters people. And they're comparing him to the likes of Freddy, Michael, Jason, and Leatherface, Pinhead, you know, like the proper classics of horror. And to be honest, it seems like he has the potential. He's got the backstory, and he's got the brutality to definitely be featured with them people. So, I'm going to talk about the first film that Victor Crowley's featured in, and that is Hatchet. So, it's about a group of two friends who decide, there's some like festival, I suppose.
Halloween one, isn't it?
Hmm?
Is it a Halloween festival?
Something like that, there's lots of boobs. And then they decide to leave that and go on some sort of night swamp tour. And it basically turns out that the tour is sort of just run by this Asian guy who's basically a fraudster, and he's really funny, that character. And he takes these people out to this swamp where Victor Crowley has lived. The legend with Victor Crowley is that he's... in fact, I'm not going to say. So basically it turns out that this tour is basically a fraud guy, he's never done it before, and they get stuck in this swamp where Victor Crowley lived. And obviously I'll leave all that to you to discover whilst watching it. And basically, obviously Victor Crowley's still alive and he's still out there, and they start getting killed off one by one, sort of picked off in these really brutal, violent, disgusting ways. Like, people are getting their heads ripped off. Like, Victor Crowley's literally able to tear people from limb and rip people's heads in half and just hack people to pieces. So it's so brutal, the violence is over the top, but in a very, very, very good way. So Gore fans, if you're a Gore fan, you should have seen this film already. I really don't know why I've not. It's been on my list to watch for a long time, and I suppose I just didn't really give it too much thought. But then, like, when I did a bit of research, I discovered who was in it, sort of read some reviews about it, I decided I had to watch this film the second I bought it. So, the characters in it are also really likeable. Like, there's a lot of comedy elements in the film. Like, there's the Asian guy who's very funny. Like, he's just such a fraud. So then there's these two porn stars, I suppose, who are like, they've got really good chemistry between each other, and they're really dumb. But like, usually you'd be annoyed by them, but in Hatchet they played really well, and they just did not get annoying. And basically, for all the characters, I kind of was rooting for them. I actually was rooting for them, which is strange for modern slasher films, because you're usually on the side of the villain, because the people are that stupid. I mean, there was some stupid decisions in the film, but it was very good. One problem I would say with the film is that it lacks suspense. Like, I would say, like, if there was a lot of comedy and not much suspense, like, there's a couple of jumps, but, like, if they put less comedy in there and more suspense, I think we'd be looking at a classic. But people are still calling this a classic, and for me, it's not an absolute classic, but it was a very, very enjoyable film. Overall, I give it an 8 out of 10, and...
I'd say an 8, actually.
So yeah, an 8 out of 10, that's really good ratings, and it's a must-watch film if you're a horror fan, because, you know, with people saying it's such a cult classic, it's going to be such a classic, and it's, you know, comparable to these films up here, then it's definitely worth watching, especially with the 2 sequels coming out, and it's just got such an all-star cast. And then, so I know Tony Todd's in the sequel, but I've not really looked at that. I don't know who's in that, but apparently it's got a good cast as well. So it's number 3. Also, I completely forgot to mention that Kane Hodder, I believe, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Kane Hodder. He played Jason in not all, but some of the Friday the 13th films. He also plays Victor Crowley, so you got a legend behind the mask as well. So it's pretty much an all-star, like a really good cast film, and you should definitely check this film out. So that's 2 8 out of 10s for Hatchet, the 2006 film. Make sure you check it out. Also, let me know what you think, and whether you think it does deserve to be considered a classic like some of them films. Thank you.